Connor, I'm here.
Can't get that to print in
the other.
I tried that one.
There should be a printer option to print it in color. Hello, how's everyone doing? I'm just waiting for some people to go in. Leo, why is mine not going full screen on me? Okay, everyone, I'm going to get started. It's 2:00. My name is David Beatrice. For those of you that have not heard of me or seen me, I did a video on 12/9 of 2024 questioning how this crime committed. And I'm talking about Brian Thompson and the CEO case. Okay. And so that went real viral. It got 9 million views and it got me interested in the case. And I was a little suspect about how all of this went down. So I decided to do this live. It's going to be for an hour. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, if you'd hit a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you on TikTok, the first thing I want to talk to you about is the TikTok ban. Okay? And what that means. So, Connor, could you hand me the article with the timeline on it? There's an article up there with the timeline. All right, beautiful. No, the timeline for the TikTok ban should be on the desk somewhere there. So on August 20th of 2024, Donald Trump, who was then president, tried to ban TikTok. Should be right on there. Tried to ban TikTok. From that time until now, hold on one second. Connor, it should be. I'm telling you, there's an article here. Right there, right there.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get our days straight here. In August of 2020, Donald Trump tried to stop it. Okay. I'm just trying to get all these papers organized. And then they passed the law, and President Biden signed the law. They then had arguments and went up to the Court of Appeals. TikTok sued. Please, anyone, don't ask to be. I'm just going to talk here, okay? TikTok sued. The Court of Appeals upheld the ban. And then April of 2024, Biden signs it. They have arguments in the Supreme Court of the United States on January 10th. And on yesterday, the court issued a decision on it. And basically what the court said was that, Connor, see if that decision's right there. I circled it. Basically what they said was, yeah, there's a look for the whole decision. I circled a point there. I circled a page. Basically what the court said, it's a national security. They were they were given things under There's what I'm looking for. And there's an article where I circled the court's ruling. I got my timeline down. On August 6th of 2020, Donald Trump attempts to force a sale of TikTok. On April 24th of 2024, President Biden signs a bipartisan TikTok ban bill. On May 7th of 2024, TikTok and ByteDance sue the United States. On August 2nd, the Federal Trade Commission, the Department of Justice sued TikTok and ByteDance. On December the 6th of 2024, the Federal Appeals Court upholds the ban. December 27th, President-elect Trump asked SCOTUS, which SCOTUS is the Supreme Court of the United States, to pause the ban. The Supreme Court had arguments on January 10th, and yesterday they issued a decision. The decision basically says that it is a national security crisis, and as a result, the law is constitutional. They weren't asked to rule on anything else other than the constitutionality of the law. So as of tomorrow, technically, TikTok needs to shut down. Now, everyone is saying what can happen. Well, President-elect Trump gets inaugurated on January 20th, 2025 at noon. He can sign an executive order that might slow it down, but if he eventually gets sued, that's legislation by Congress overrides an executive order. Okay? Now, the other kerfluffle in the TikTok ban is he is the chief executive officer, and he's the one responsible for enforcing the ban. And if you've read the news, the news is that he invited the owner of TikTok to sit on the dais with him. So I don't know politically how that's going to play out. But that's where the TikTok ban stands right now. Where am I going? Well, I'm not going to RedNote because RedNote is just another Chinese app. And they'll eventually go there and shut that down. So if anyone wants to keep getting my updates, I have an Instagram page. It's David Beatrice. My law firm has an Instagram page, Beatrice Cop. I'm going to be doing YouTubes. So anyone there watching me on YouTube, hit a like and subscribe. Okay. The law firm has an Instagram page, Beatrice Cop. The law firm has a YouTube page called Beatrice Cop. And I've uploaded a lot of my stuff from TikTok to YouTube so you could see it. Okay? So that's where I'm going to be. Let me just say this about this case. They have regulated TikTok. I've tried to spend my own money to boost this live broadcast, and they rejected it. So I want to go back to how I got involved and why I'm here and why I've gotten so many followers. I made an initial post on 12/7, okay? And it got 9 million views. And we've learned a lot since then. So let me go over the timeline of the case. And then I'm going to answer what I get the most questions about. That's how we're going to do it. Okay. On November 18th, there is a missing persons report filed. Okay. Connor, I had printed some stuff off see if there's anything on the printer. There's a timeline there. There's a missing report filed by his mother. He's caught on camera, they're saying, on November 24th, he's caught on a surveillance camera. He checks into the hostel, according to the New York Police Department, on November the 30th. At 12:04, nope, there should have been another one there. There was a timeline. Look on my desk. I know I printed it out. Or go to my emails. On 12/4 at 5:34 a.m., he leaves the hostel. They say on 12/4 at 6:15, he has a water bottle and a granola bar at a Starbucks. At 12/4 at 6:19, they say there's a video of him walking down West 55th Street. On 12/4 of 6:29 a.m., they say there's a person 50 meters from the scene of the crime. At about 6:44, the crime happens. They say he gets on a bike. He enters Central Park, and then he leaves New York. Now, look on an email I sent myself on the timeline. I just did it. So let's go to where the timeline is now. His mother calls the New York Police Department on December. No, it's a list. Yeah, that one right there. See right above it? See that timeline right above it? You see that? Print that out. On 12/8 of 2024, his mom calls the New York City Police Department and says that picture they're circulating looks a lot like him. The police don't put out his name, though. They just put out his picture. Somehow he winds up in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Okay? And I'm getting the timeline because what happens in Altoona is very important in this case. So at 9:14 a.m. is when the Altoona Police Department first make contact. Altoona police officer Tyler Fry and Joe Detweiler go to McDonald's because they get a couple calls that the person that looks like the person that committed the crime on December the 4th is at the McDonald's. At 9:58 is the exact time that he was handcuffed and searched on the scene. Okay? He's taken to the Altoona Police Department at 10:18 a.m. He was brought inside the Altoona Police Department, and he stays in the Altoona Police Department until 6:07 p.m., at which time he's taken in front of a judge, and then it's like 6:07, and later that evening, he is taken to the jail, and I've showed you people the picture of him with no shoes on. So, in Pennsylvania, he gets indicted on 12/31 of 2024. He waived, and on 1/3, his lawyer files a waiver of arraignment. Now, he's supposed to have an extradition hearing, but they waived the extradition hearing. And his arraignment, they do things a little different in Pennsylvania. It's a Commonwealth, it's a little weird. But he filed a waiver of the arraignment. In New York, he was indicted on an 11-count indictment. He had an arraignment on 12/23 of 24. And the next hearing for him in New York is February 21st, 2025. Now, in the Southern District of New York, the federal court, I'm in Ohio. I'm in Northern Ohio. So every federal court has districts. And then there are circuit courts above those district courts. And from the circuit courts, you go to the United States Supreme Court. Okay? So in the Southern District of New York federal court, there is on December the 18th, they file a 4-count complaint. Now, they then file a continuance, and they have to have an indictment by 2/17 of 2025. Okay. And that's where the cases sit. So he has a case in Pennsylvania. He has a case in, I hope we're taping this, Leo, because we want to post this. He has a case in Pennsylvania, a case in New York, and in federal court. Okay, that's where the case currently sits. Let's review what we think they have as evidence. All right. They have video footage. They say that's him. Okay. This is all we know so far. They say that there were smudges of fingerprints by the crime scene. So the water bottle and the wrapper, they were able to get smudged fingerprints. I don't know how good those fingerprints are. Okay. They have a ghost gun that they said the shell casings match the shell casings at the scene. Well, smudged fingerprints and matched shell casings and surveillance footage and a fake ID and a manifesto, okay, is about what we know is what they have evidence of. Okay. Now, here's what they're doing now. They're going to try to lift it's called DNA fingerprinting. They're going to try to lift anything you touch, your DNA sheds on it. Okay. So if I touch my glasses, I have my little readers here. I find these on Amazon. You know, for a boomer, having Amazon is just mind-blowing. But I found these on Amazon, and they go in the back of my glasses because I'm such a airhead. I always lose my readers. All right. So when you touch something, like I just touched these glasses, I shed DNA. All right. They can lift the DNA off the glasses and then swab my mouth, and they can compare the DNA and see it. Now they're going to take that water bottle and take that wrapper that they said he touched, and they're going to try to get DNA from it. Okay. They're going to take the shell casings that they found at the scene. Now, what are shell casings? So a lot of you people know this, a lot of you people don't. So let me just try to make it basic. A revolver, the shell casing never leaves the revolver. But like a Glock or a 9mm, when you have to slide, when the bullet comes out, the shell casing comes out. The shell casings were left at the scene. Oh, they also found a suppressor or a silencer on them. So they're going to try to lift from those shell casings found at the scene. They're going to try to lift his DNA off of those shell casings. Now, I've done a lot of murder cases since DNA's been around. And none of my cases, the ones I've done recently, have they been able to lift the DNA off the shell casings. Not everything you touch, do you shed enough DNA? It could get rubbed off. There's a lot of things that can happen with that. I doubt that they're going to be able to lift any DNA off those shell casings. But if they lift DNA off those shell casings and that DNA matches Luigi's, well, that's a pretty tough case to get over. I'll just be honest with you. If his DNA is found on those shell casings, it's game, set, and match. I mean, I don't know how they're going to go around that. All right. Now, they have the weapon that they say they found on him. They're going to ballistic test the weapon. What does that mean? Well, they take the weapon and they test fire it. Now, when a bullet comes out of a barrel, it leaves striation marks that are unique to every gun. So, in the federal system, they have a thing called CODIS, where all the DNA of everyone who's been arrested is stored, okay? And then they have a registry of firearms, but this was a ghost gun, so it's probably not in any bank. We don't know enough about the ghost gun to know what kind of a barrel it was. Some of these ghost guns, it's a 1 or 2 use thing and then they're no good. Some of them have metal barrels. Some of them get a machine shop. We just don't know. Okay. We don't know what the ballistics are going to show. Also, now remember I told you about the shell casings. The shell casings, when the pin hits it, it leaves a unique mark. And that's another thing. Now, you've heard me talk about expert testimony. In the olden days, they used to have a test called the Fry test. Now all the courts have moved to Daubert. So Daubert is that it has to be a recognized science. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for people. It has to be a recognized science, peer-reviewed, for it to be admissible in court. So in court, when you are trying a case, you have rules of evidence. Okay, there's a book. This is my federal book that has everything. And the rules of evidence are in this book. Okay. And when you are presenting a case, only people that have facts about the case can testify. And when the people have facts, they are then subject to cross-examination. In Daubert, okay, I don't know if the law has caught up with the science. I've been trying to find recent cases, and ballistics do not have the gold standard they used to. They have come under greater scrutiny under the Daubert test in some courts, although I just had a court admit it and I filed a Daubert challenge. So let's go back to where we are. We're talking about the ballistics. We're talking about test firing of the weapon and comparing the shell casings and any bullets that may have come out of the victim with the test firing of the weapon. But the weapon was a ghost gun. And I don't know if the ballistics will still work on a ghost gun like they work on a regular weapon. We don't know that yet. They haven't released that evidence. All right. So let's review once again quickly what evidence they say they have right now. A manifesto, CCTV videos. They have a fake ID they said he used at the hostel that he was caught with. They found him with a weapon that resembled the weapon and shell casings that resembled the shell casings and a smudged fingerprint that they say is his. That's where it is so far. And now what they're doing is they're still investigating it. They're looking over a ton of video. They're talking to a ton of witnesses, and they're still putting the case together. Okay? That's the status of the evidence. And we don't know anything else other than that status of that evidence of where it is right now. Now, here are the most common questions I get asked. What did I do with my legal pad? All right. Tried to write these down. Why is this not double jeopardy? That's the number one question I get asked. Why is this not double jeopardy? It is not double jeopardy because the federal courts and the federal government is considered under our Constitution a separate sovereignty than a state. A state is a sovereignty, and the United States government's a sovereignty. And just recently, as 2017, the United States Supreme Court said, if you commit a crime, you can be charged in federal court and in state court. Okay. And if you followed my posts, I've told people, and this is true, the best way to beat a federal indictment is don't get indicted. It's very, very hard to win in federal court. Very hard. Now, a lot of people are confused about what they've charged him with in federal court. Let me read you the statute, because people are reading this statute incorrectly. So let me just read it word for word. Whoever travels in interstate or foreign commerce, so he traveled in interstate because they're saying he came from Atlanta, or is present within a special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States, or enters or leaves Indian country with the intent to kill, injure, harass, or with the intent to kill, injure, harass, intimidate. And then there's an or place surveillance with the intent to kill, injure, harass, or intimidate another person. And in a result or course of that, such travel, the person engages in conduct that causes death. So the federal government gets jurisdiction because they're alleging he stalked him in a sense. It's called stalking, although it's not really stalking. He traveled interstate to go and commit this crime. That's where the federal jurisdiction comes from. Okay. It happened in the state of New York, so they get to charge him. So he's charged in the state of New York, and he's charged in the federal government. Now, why is Luigi not entitled to bail? It's the same reason that Sean Combs, who's a billionaire, is still sitting in prison. 18 United States Code 1342, oddly enough, called the Bail Reform Act. I know, sounds crazy. Bail Reform Act that doesn't give you bail. The Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution says that there shall be no unreasonable bond put on anyone, nor cruel or unusual punishment. Now, the Supreme Court has said that the death penalty, if done properly, is not cruel or unusual punishment. Okay. And they said just because there's a prohibition against no unreasonable bail, the Supreme Court has ruled, it sounds crazy, but this is how they've ruled. Supreme Court has ruled that doesn't mean you're entitled to bail. And in this type of a case, because of the case it is, I don't want to get too technical. There's a presumption that he stays in, and his lawyers are never going to overcome that presumption. So he's not getting out as long as the federal government has their teeth in this case. Now, if the federal government doesn't indict him by the 17th, that doesn't mean that they're not going to indict him. They just have to dismiss their complaint. But no jeopardy attaches, okay? No jeopardy. Double jeopardy is when, here's the simplest way I can explain it. If I'm trying a case and we seat a jury, once that jury is sworn in, jeopardy attaches. If my client is found not guilty, they can never try him again once that jury is sworn in. That's when jeopardy attaches to a case. Jeopardy does not attach to a case on a no-bill indictment or a dismissed complaint that's refiled. No jeopardy attaches. And there's no statute of limitations in federal court or in state court for murder. In other words, that there's no statute of limitations. What are statutes of limitations? Statutes of limitations are you have to bring a case within so many days or time or you lose it. Most federal crimes, I want to say 80%, 85% of them have a 5-year statute of limitations. Okay. In Ohio, no statute of limitations for murder. They've extended the statute of limitations on rape to 25 years. Some states now have made rape no statute of limitations. But in New York law and in federal law, there is no statute of limitations on murder. That's why sometimes you see cases, these cold cases, because as you are getting these DNA tests, people, So if you're out there and you're getting these DNA tests, all right, that's all going into a bank. That's how they're solving a lot of these unsolved cases. And they could go down to third or fourth cousins. And so when you do that 23andMe, that's how they're solving a lot of these cold cases. And on the other side, people are getting exonerated on this DNA. So it cuts both ways. All right. So we covered why it's not double jeopardy. And we covered why he's not getting bail. Okay. The next question I get asked so much is there an insanity defense here? Well, many of you Gen Zers, I'm a boomer. Some of you don't remember Ronald Reagan. I happen to remember him. I didn't vote for him, but. And so insanity got changed after Hinckley tried to assassinate President Reagan, and he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay. Now, what is insanity? Insanity is an affirmative defense. Okay. What do I mean by an affirmative defense? Luigi Mangione, as he sits right now, is presumed to be innocent. He has that presumption because that came from the Bill of Rights. Okay. He keeps that presumption of innocence unless and until the government proves him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, there are defenses to crimes, like self-defense is a defense to a crime. The Kyle Wittenhauser case, the Dennis Little case, or Denny Penny case is a prime example of an affirmative defense. An affirmative defense is available in federal court, but they changed it after the Ronald Reagan case. And so here is the actual law for an affirmative defense of insanity in federal court. And it says, it is an affirmative defense under any federal statute that at the time of the commission of the acts constituting the offense, the defendant, as a result of a severe mental disease or defect, was unable to appreciate the nature and quality or the wrongfulness of his acts. Mental disease or defects does not otherwise constitute a defense. Let me read that to you again. As a result of the severe mental disease or defect, was unable to appreciate the nature and quality of the wrongfulness of his act. And they made it by clear and convincing evidence. Now, the New York insanity statute is relatively the same, only their burden of proof is not as high. It's by what's called the preponderance of the evidence. So, insanity is not going to be available for Luigi here. Now, I read somewhere that his lawyers, and I don't know how accurate this is, okay, that his lawyers are going to try to say, oh, that he was, not right mentally, and that as a result of that's just not a defense. That's not a defense. Insanity is a defense. Not having enough evidence is a defense. So I covered insanity. A lot of people have asked me about jury nullification. What is jury nullification? Jury nullification occurs that the jury just ignores the evidence and says, we don't care what the evidence is. We're going to find him not guilty. Okay. Now, lawyers, I'm a lawyer, we're not allowed to argue to a jury, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Juror, don't listen to what the judge is telling you. Don't listen to those jury instructions. You find this guy not guilty because that's the right thing to do. A judge will sit you down, hold you in contempt. You could probably even get your license. You're not allowed to do that. Okay. So when a jury is seated, they seat 12 jurors. Each lawyer goes up and they do what's called voir dire the jury. That's where they get to ask the jurors questions, right? It's the only time during the trial you're allowed to talk to the jury. And there's different, I mean, everyone has 25 ways of doing it. I have a way that I disarm the jury so I can get them to tell me the truth about what I'm asking. Okay. And it's not so much about who you select, it's about a deselection process. When you get a criminal case, you come up with a theory of a defense. And then everything revolves around your theory of the defense. Okay. And so you want to find jurors that will be fair and impartial and have not prejudged the case. And people are asking me, well, how can they find a fair jury? Okay. With all this going on. Well, they tried the former president of the United States in Manhattan. If they can find a jury for him, they can find a jury for Luigi. So where's he going to go in this country where someone hasn't heard about it? Okay. So we have covered why it's not double jeopardy. We have covered why he's not getting out on bail. We have covered the insanity defense, and we have covered jury nullification. That pretty much answers a lot of the questions. Then I'm getting questions about the search of him. Now, the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, you start off with, if you want to search someone, you need a search warrant. If you want to seize something off of someone, you need a seizure warrant. That's where you start the rule off. But the United States Supreme Court has carved a lot of exceptions out on that. And one of the exceptions is search incident to an arrest. So if Luigi is sitting in McDonald's, okay, and someone calls in and says, hey, I think that's the guy they're looking for. They call the Altoona Police Department. Altoona Police Department, pull up his picture and they go, well, that kind of looks like him. That gives them a reasonable, articulable suspicion to question him. Okay? That's all they need is a reasonable, articulable suspicion to initially question you. They just can't come up randomly and question you. They have to have a reasonable, articulable suspicion. That reasonable, articulable suspicion then can lead to probable cause. The police said, my gosh, this looks like him. And not only that, he handed us an ID, and we found out that's the ID that he used at the hostel. That's probable cause. Okay? When they do probable cause, they can do what's called a search incident to arrest. So if he had a backpack on him, they're allowed to search the backpack, his pockets, and everything else. That's where they found the manifesto. That's where they found the weapon. I can only surmise that he gave him the fake ID. I don't know that. I don't know because I would hope that the Altoona Police Department have body cams. What are body cams? If you notice now, police officers wear a camera. It's right on their chest, right here. Okay? And they're filming it as it's going on. That hasn't been released to us. Okay? So that's where they found it. Now, another thing that is shocking to me is that when they were taking him into the police department, into the jail, he didn't have shoes on. So evidently, they feel those shoes are part of the evidence. All right. So that answers most of the questions that people have had: the search, insanity, double jeopardy, jury nullification, and do they have enough evidence, and can they make it? The burden is on the government to prove Luigi Mangione guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. All he and his lawyer have to do is show up in courtroom. They don't even have to speak. They can just sit there, and the government still has to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay? I am a little suspect of this case, and let me tell you why, and why my initial thing blew up. If you look at this crime, it looked like an assassination. Okay. You look like an assassination. Whoever handled that weapon was adept with that weapon. The assassin knew there were cameras behind him because we don't have any cameras catching his face. So whoever did this did some planning, right? This wasn't like a random, I mean, this guy was targeted, okay? And whoever did it was very adept with a weapon. So if you're going to be that cautious in how you do it, what I can't wrap my head around is, why did he keep the weapon with him? Why did he keep the fake ID? Why did he he went into a place in Central Park where he knew there were no cameras. So this person knew there were no cameras. He knew there were cameras all over the place, but he knew there were no cameras where he went into Central Park and he allegedly dumps the backpack. What I'm suspect is, and I could be wrong, people. A lot of people are telling me I'm full of crap and he did it. And what are we even talking about? We don't know just what we don't know yet. Whoever did this wanted you to see that backpack, knew a camera was behind him. And that's a very distinct backpack. That's like, I think that person wanted you to see the backpack. Okay. Then he dumps the backpack, gets on a bus, and leaves the city and winds up in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So his lawyer, who is Karen Friedman Agnifilo, I call her the Lamborghini of lawyers, and because she is a high performance lawyer. She's very good. People don't need to be sending her emails. She knows what she's doing. She's an excellent lawyer. I was surprised when she was on the case because I've been following her for years. Not years, but I knew about her. I knew about her record. I listened to her podcast, and she is very good. Now, she's representing him in the state of New York, and her husband, Mark Agnifilo, are representing him in federal court. And you would say, well, why is Mark Agnifilo with her in federal court, but not state court? The procedures in federal court, think of a church, people. It's a church, so the same kind of concepts, but different pews. That's how it is. So the procedures are different in federal court than the procedures are in the state of New York court. And their trial courts in New York are called Supreme Courts. Okay. And if anyone wants to ask me a question on YouTube, I can't see it. Comments. Okay, there it goes. All right. I'm going to get to some questions in a minute. So the procedures are different, but she is a very good lawyer. He's in very good hands. Do I think right now they have enough evidence to convict him? In my opinion, no. They're going to enhance those videos. I got a guy acquitted one time on video evidence. And it wasn't as sophisticated now, but they caught him on a CCTV camera. And I hired a video expert. And we went out and we did measurements. And they said the person that was my person was, my guy was 6'4". And we were able to determine, they said he entered the turnstile at this certain time. And we were able to measure static things in the camera. And the person that they said was my guy was 5'10". Okay. So there's a lot they could do with the videos. People are asking me, what about AI? Well, it once again has to pass the Daubert test. If you're going to bring in anyone that's going to talk about anything but facts of the case, they have to be an expert and they have to be qualified and they have to pass the Daubert's test. Okay. So we don't know everything they have. I'm sus. I like that, Gen Zers. I know that word. Sus and Riz. I'm pretty proud of myself. Sus and Riz. I'm sus because if they had a really, really, really good piece of evidence, you don't think someone would have leaked it to the press? This is what is just making me a little sus about the case. Okay. Yes, the live chat is on, Kessie, and I'll get right to you in a second on YouTube. And I'm going to get to some of the questions here too. Let me tell you something that's bothering me about this case. What's bothering me, probably the most thing that's bothering me the most. My phone's running out of juice. Is that, oh boy, what happened here? Oh, the boomer messed up. Oh, there I am. All right, what makes me sus, what's bothering me about this case, everyone listen to me, please. If the government can prove this case, if the government can do it, it's not okay. It's not okay. That's bothering me about the case. Is equally bothering me about the case is that people are saying he's guilty without giving him a presumption. Violence is not a way to solve problems in this country. And this case is scaring me because I wish my phone wasn't running out of juice. I'm going to just let it go. It's bothering me because so many comments TikTok is blocking from me. And some of the comments are, well, we don't care if he did it or not. It was righteous. No. Look, healthcare in our country is messed up. We have subjected it to a capitalistic model. Brian Thompson's job, any CEO's job, is to make money for the company. That's his job. And they made an incredible amount of money, United Healthcare. They posted $5.5 billion in profits in the last quarter. So they're doing incredibly well. Okay. And I see the Gen Zers and the millennials, they're really upset about this, how this healthcare is being run. So if you want the healthcare system to change, you don't go out and take justice into your own hands. You change it up. Okay. And for those of you that say he's guilty without giving him the benefit of the doubt or having the government bring it in, then you're just as wrong too. People are comparing what Luigi Mangione is accused of as like the revolution. No, the revolution brought us the Bill of Rights. We threw off the yoke of a king. People don't realize the rights you have. This is what's so frustrating to me out there. People don't realize what the Bill of Rights stands for. This picture is the only piece of art hanging in my office, and that's the shoe of the government. And sometimes the only person standing between you and the shoe of the government is a lawyer armed with the Bill of Rights. You have this rights. Okay? A lot of people ask me, well, do you ask your clients if they did it? I never do. Look, this is what's, a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around it. Okay? I don't care about actual guilt. I don't. I'm a criminal defense lawyer protects people's rights. You have to prove someone guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If the government can't do that, you are protecting that document and your rights as an American citizen or as anyone in this country. Okay? So I'm only considering legal guilt. All right. Now let me go to some of these questions over here. I'll start over here, and we don't have too much time left. If this case goes to a jury, will the prosecutor need to show that Luigi had the training and skills to pull off a murder with such proficiency? No. They don't even have to prove a motive in a murder case. A lot of people, you see, why the manifesto is a damning piece of evidence is it gives them a motive. All the government has to prove is a willful killing. That's all they have to prove. Yes, the timelines are a little messed up because they're rushing it. Okay. Have I taken a look at the federal complaint timeline and the people's and concerns, and does it feel rushed to you? Yes, the government rushed to file a complaint. That's why they're waiting until the 17th to file an indictment. Why did the government rush to file a complaint? Because they wanted to keep him in jail, and they're keeping him in jail. Okay, what's the other questions? What if the prosecutor realizes they don't have a case and they don't have enough to prove him guilty? Well, it's a prosecutor's job. A lot of people think a prosecutor's job is to win. No. A prosecutor's job is to do justice. And if a prosecutor feels there's not enough evidence, it is their duty to dismiss a case. But they didn't indict him because they don't feel they have a case. They indicted him because they feel they have a case. Okay? So let me go to, if they have let's see. Do we have a justice system? See, these are the questions that really bother me. Yes, we have a justice system. Yes, it's been under assault. This is what bothers me so much. Wait, someone's saying something about vigilantism here. Our judicial system is not broken. Decline. No one, don't ask me to come on here now. Why is there not a lot of media coverage on the case anymore? Because there's been no new developments on the case. There's not been a court appearance. There's not been any motions filed. I'm sure the lawyers are talking, the prosecutors and Karen Friedman Agnifilo. I'm sure they're talking. And she asked for expedited discovery under a case called Brady versus Maryland. The government has an obligation to turn everything over to the defense and even exculpatory evidence if they have it. Okay? Why no video of eat the rich? No, not eat the rich. Eat the rich means you want to you want to have a revolution. This is a slow move. This is what's bothering me about the case. Look, I know the billionaires have taken over the joint. Let's not kid ourselves. They've hijacked our democracy, but the power still rests with us. You only feel helpless because you're allowing yourself to feel helpless. So no, not eat the rich. No. How about we tax the rich at an appropriate rate, not cut their taxes and push it down on them? Now, I didn't want to get political on this, okay? But that's why people are upset. And that's why people are almost saying, oh, it's okay that he did this. No, it's not okay that he did this. This is not okay. If you feel this is okay, then there's no difference between you and the people that stormed the Capitol because they felt they were right. You see, that's the whole thing about vigilante justice, is you're taking your law into your own hands, okay? Okay, a lot of people die of treatable illness due to our systems. They are helpless, for real. Yes, I know that. Our healthcare system is messed up. That doesn't mean you can kill the CEO of a healthcare system. That's not how you solve a problem. Okay? Let's see here. Can Luigi sue for defamation if he's found innocent? Probably. Have you represented someone who was framed or set up? I have represented someone that absolutely did not do the crime. And when you know they absolutely did not do it, and you show the prosecutor your proof and they're still doing it, that's kind of like a setup. I mean, the jury acquitted the person. But Karen Friedman Agnifilo will smell that out. Look, they can't frame someone and not make a mistake in framing them. Okay? Okay, so if they had DNA, she's allowed to get the DNA tested. If they have a ballistics test, she can have the ballistics test done. Okay? Will this country get worse under President Trump is the question. I don't know. I don't know. I think we got to strap in. Okay? We have a new president. coming in on Monday. For those of you that are on TikTok, you're going to probably like what he has to say. He's probably going to slow this down. David, wait a minute. Let's just say, David, why is there not a video of him get arrested at the McDonald's? There probably is. They just haven't released it. I don't know if the Altoona Police Department has cameras or not. Okay. Oh boy, what's this? What are they making me do here, Connor? Okay, all right, they're so. How do we solve problems? How do we solve the problems of corporations own DC? We're going through a rough time in the country. I'm worried about the people that use this platform. My generation is left it messed up for you. We owe you an apology. We messed up a lot of stuff. I mean, my dad fought and helped liberate Paris. My dad fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and my son currently serves. It skipped a generation. But the greatest generation left us the greatest country, and we kind of messed that up. All right, Connor, this person jumped on here. How do I get her off? Connor's here, everyone. You want to meet Connor? So come on, bring your face in, Connor. This is Connor. He's my guy. Disconnect. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Connor, isn't he the best? He's a first year in college. He wants to be a lawyer. I grabbed him out of a Subway shop. He's the bomb. I mean, I have 3 murder trials coming up. He's helping me so much. He's become invaluable to me. All right. How long does the process? Thank Connor. Yo, Connor. Everyone's sub Connor. Everyone's giving you Connor. Everyone's giving you kudos, Connor. Connor helps me with this because I'm a boomer. All right. So I got 4 more minutes left, people. I don't know what's going to happen to TikTok, but you can definitely find me on YouTube and on Instagram. Whether or not I am going to go to Red Note, is it? What's this? You're saying no employees or citizens recorded Luigi getting arrested. I don't know. If they did, the police have it. Dave, make me a moderator. No. You are amazing. Thank you. Okay, go Connor. Boycott Meta. Yes, to Red Note. Red Note's another Chinese company. Did you not hear Senator Cotton saying they're just going to do the same thing? Okay. So if I'm on YouTube, that's not Meta. I'm going to be doing YouTube. My firm's going to be doing a lot of YouTube because I realize that people don't know a lot about the law and a lot about their rights. Okay. David, wait a minute. Let me go back here. Hold on. David, you motivated me to get clean and sober. Thank you. Really? Well, that's pretty good. Getting sober is good. But today's Saturday, people. You know what rhymes with Saturday for me? You know what rhymes with Saturday, Connor? Vodka rhymes with Saturday. Oh, God. I don't know how this did it. All right. Here's what's going on, too. I know government officials are on this, and they are blocking content, and the government's worried about how much support there is for Luigi. Tough. Prove him. Prove him guilty. And I'll be the first one to say to punish him. Okay? But you're not going to suppress people's speech if they want to support Luigi. That's their right. Now, it's not their right to engage in vigilante justice, but it is your First Amendment right. Don't let anyone take your voice away from you. You're allowed to go to city council meetings, school board meetings, county commissioner meetings. You can get up there and say whatever the hell you want. I mean, within reason. But you have a First Amendment right. And people are worried they're going to be on an FBI watch list. Since when should we be afraid of our government? Between you and that shoe stands a Bill of Rights. And there is blood spilled for that Bill of Rights. So all you Gen Zers and millennials out there, don't give up on this country. Don't you ever give up on America. America's been down on its knees before, but we always rise up. Be strong. Be strong, millennials. Be strong, Gen Zers. You can make a change. I realize my generation screwed things up for you people. I'm sorry. We allowed them to cut the taxes for the super wealthy. And the wealth gap is getting crazy in this country. And that's what's bothering me, because then people turn to violence when that happens. We have to reverse the wealth gap. We can't let billionaires be the ones trying to solve our problems when they're the ones creating it. I have to go in a few moments here. But we cut the estate tax in Ohio. And now I'm on the Board of Elections. Every election, there's a police levy on, because that's where the estate tax money used to go, were the police departments. So who did it get pushed down onto? Middle class, the working class, the forgotten class. I see blue collar workers out there, and I reject the notion. Now I'm on like a rant. I reject the notion of white working class. Donald Trump picked up support from every working class group. The Democrats have lost their voice to talk to working people. Okay, and the billionaires. I'm telling you, people are upset from 2008. Did you see one CEO go to jail for what they did to our country? Did anyone see one CEO get prosecuted for tanking and spilling all that money onto us while they robbed the bank? We had to bail them out. Right? And we're 35 trillion in debt. That's what we're leaving my kid. That's what I'm leaving my children. I have a 32-year-old son, 29-year-old daughter, and a 23-year-old son. Okay, that's what my generation is leaving you. Crap. We messed this up. The boomers did this to you. We owe you an apology. Okay, but you guys can fix it. You have a lot of great talent out there. Don't fall for this vigilante stuff. Don't go into a rabbit hole. Don't give up on America. Never, ever, ever give up on a document that was formulated over 250 years ago that we're still using. Think of that. Think how bizarre that is. I mean, I love it when I'm in a courtroom, because I say, man, like Jefferson and all these guys, they thought all this stuff, and I'm applying it like they're there with me. Where I live didn't even exist when they wrote up that document. America's a great place. Yeah, we've done a lot of messed up stuff to a lot of people, to a lot of countries. We stuck our nose in places we shouldn't have been. We go and we try to be imperialist. We did a lot of bad stuff, Americans did. But that doesn't mean, it comes in. It's like a tide. It goes in and it goes out. It goes in and it goes out. It's out a little bit now. But you Gen Zers and you millennials, you can fix it. You can fix it. Okay? Don't say there's such a thing as a righteous kill. That is you giving up on the system, and you won't like what will happen after it. I assure you. Anarchy does not lead to you having more rights. Anarchy leads to you having less rights. And so I beseech you out there, all you people that want to support Luigi, support him all you want. And if the FBI is going to put you on a watch list, screw the FBI. They have no business putting someone on a watch list because they're supporting Luigi. But at the same time, if Luigi did it, it's not right. And you can't accept it. That's vigilantism. And we can't, as a country, go down that path. Now, this is my last broadcast probably on TikTok. You could catch me on YouTube. I'm still going to be doing it. And people, yes, you can use two different defenses. Yes, KFA is a good lawyer. People don't email her, okay? Because I think he's getting charged hourly. There's two ways lawyers can charge on a criminal case: flat fee or hourly. So every email she reads, Luigi has to he's going to get charged for. Okay? She knows what she's doing. She's a smart, very smart, adept lawyer. I don't call her the Lamborghini lawyer for nothing. And I got criticized for that. Okay? I use picture words. Trial lawyers use picture words. Okay, that's why I say church. Think of a church, different pews. So I say this. Think of that's the government. See, it puts a picture in your mind. Okay, so you Gen Zers, stop with the vigilante that it's okay. It's not okay. And at the same time, it's not okay for an insurance company to be making money denying claims. That's not okay either. But the way we solve that problem is not through violence. Read history. What I'm afraid is happening in this country, and what I don't want to happen is that the wealth gap is getting so great that they are going to eat the rich. That is going to happen. And you billionaires out there better start realizing it, because my comments on here are alarming to me. They're very alarming because they're justifying violence. And violence is not justified to solve problems. It is a frustrating, yes. But any of you that think that if Luigi did it, that it's okay, then the people that stormed the Capitol, it's okay. Okay, same thing. They thought they were right. They thought the president told them to do it. They actually thought they were right in their minds. How'd that look for us? How'd January 6th look for us as a country? Think that looked good? How would you like that in our cities? How'd you like our cities to be exploding like that? That's where this is going to lead to, unless we all just settle down. Settle down. The democracy is not going to end with Donald Trump. Okay? And half of the people there that are making comments supported Trump, and half of them don't. Look, he's our president. He won an election fair and square. I hope for the country he does the right thing. What do you want me to say? Okay, but cutting taxes for the rich while people have to work 2 jobs, while my daughter can't buy a home, while I have to help my son buy his home, while I have to help my youngest son buy his car, okay? All I know is my dad fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He helped liberate Paris. And he fought the Nazis, who were fascists. And I'm telling you, if you start going down the violence corridor, and that's what caught my so much interest in this. If you start going down the violence corridor, there's no coming back from that, people. And you are not going to like what's on the other side. I love you guys for being interested in this case. Okay. What did you say about soldiers? Hold on a second. What did you say about soldiers? But we send out our soldiers. That's violent. Yeah, my son's a soldier. My son's had 4 combat deployments. You think I like that? You think I wanted my son to be an Army Ranger? No, I didn't. But I support him, and I support the military. Okay? How do the boomers say? How do the Gen Z FOFA? Look, no one's gonna militarily take over this country. Ain't gonna happen. We are gonna self-implode. Read about all empires that end and why they end. Why they end. They end because people give up, because the rich, because people are greedy. Okay? Because people are greedy. And what I want to tell the billionaires out there, any of you are listening or know them, listen, how much richer do you want to be? I mean, how much is enough? The top 1% own more than the bottom 80%? That's not sustainable. So all of you billionaires with your bunkers, you're going to get eaten. You better make the system more fair. All right. I don't know if I'll be back on TikTok. I'll definitely be back on YouTube. Connor's here. You want to say one last goodbye, Connor? Come on, Connor. Give a kudos. Connor's my man. His mom's a bailiff for a judge, and his mom, there he is. Come in. Say hi, Connor.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. His mom's a bailiff for a judge who I try a lot of cases in front of, and his mom and I were always fighting. But I love his mom, and I love Connor. And Connor, they're saying Red Note. We got to take a look at Red Note. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if Donald Trump can slow this down until an American company buys it. I hope that happens. I hope I wasn't too preachy. And listen, no violence. No, please. Please, no violence. Please. Once we go down that path, we can't come back from it. And he'll do crazy stuff like invoke the martial law or something. Don't do it. Don't. Martin Luther King changed the whole country on a peaceful way. Gandhi did it peacefully. Peacefully protest. You have a constitutional right to peacefully protest. Use your voice. You have it for a reason. Bye, everyone. Leo, we'll cut it off now.